So Good Friday is the part of the Triduum I find hardest to preach on, at least without repeating the same thing year after year. Here goes. A bunch of us priests refer to Good Friday as Crying Day. This is a day for grief, like All Souls Day or the day of a funeral. There needs to be some time in our lives when it is good and fitting to cry and let it all out. If you never let yourself just be sad about the disappointing parts in life, you deny yourself a very real fraction of your emotional health. When bad news hits you, you gotta let yourself sit down and process it. That is the best and fastest way to accept whatever happened, to learn from it, and to be ready to move on from there as best as possible. If you clinch off that emotional process, you stagnate. And then it's harder to proceed in any reasonably healthy way. So applying that principle to our faith, we need to enter into our sadness with respect to what happened to Christ in Jerusalem. Because it's tempting, it is very tempting, to shape our entire religion around the happy stuff and to use our faith as sort of a shell of cheerfulness to protect us from the horribleness that surrounds us in the world. But that attitude, it misses the point. Now, the point of our faith certainly involves unending happiness and fullness in the kingdom of heaven. That is, in fact, the end of the story. That is the goal that we're striving for. That is true. But we're not there yet. And we can't skip to the end of the book. The road to heaven is paved with our pain and our doubts and drops of dried blood mixed with our sweat and unpleasant memories. In other words, the road to heaven is a hard road to walk, and no one finishes it without falling a few times with scraped knees and maybe some mild dehydration. The road to heaven is the road to Calvary. Jesus walked that road, and he fell, and he left his sweat and blood behind him with pretty much every step. And it's a deeply sad thing for us to remember and relive. But we have to do that. We have to remember it. We have to relive it. Because it happened, and it happened for us, and it happened because of us. And by us, I mean collective humanity in general. Love isn't always frolicking in a summer field or things like that. Sometimes love comes alive the most in moments of great tribulation and difficulty. Last night, I said that you can't prove the existence of love in a scientific way. But in a looser sense of the word, love does prove itself at certain moments. Love proves its strength and character when that cancer diagnosis comes in. Love proves itself in moments of true forgiveness, when lesser friendships would simply shatter forever. Love proves itself in times of sacrifice and pain and loss. That's when you know who your friends are. That's when you know who really loves you. And if there was one singular moment in all of history in which this was especially true, It would be that moment of Christ on Calvary, on the cross, out of love for us all. And the least we can do is to remember what happened and be grateful.